Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. The translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, my brother, how are you? I am a 28-year-old young woman who is from Zim. I am currently working here in South Africa. I am working as a maid. I have my own story that I want to share with you. And at that time, when I did such an evil act, I was only young. I was 23 years of age at that time. This was when my father passed away, and one of my father's relatives, who was my auntie, my father's sister, she then asked for me to go and do something when my father's coffin was still like at the back of the door in the kitchen, as per our custom. Like when someone has died, then we put the coffin behind the door in the kitchen throughout the whole night. Then the next day they would go and they would be buried. So my auntie, she then asked me to go and perform a very funny ritual that no one ever suspected that this was like a ritual that I was performing. My brother, I was someone like from high school. I can say that I was into boys. I don't know where this spirit really came from, but I can say that when I went for this other holiday, and when I went and I started staying with my auntie, when I returned back home, this was when I was informed too. I could no longer control my emotions anymore. When I was with a boy, I would be playing with a boy in such a way that I would be seducing that boy. Well, guys from my school, since they were young as I was, they were like very ashamed, like to tell me that they wanted to make love to me. I then got bold enough that at the place where I was staying, there was this other man who had a wife. He was really old as my father. I then went one day. He was busy polishing his shoes, and I started speaking with him, and inside my skirt I didn't have anything. The way that I was sitting, he even saw that the thing that I wanted from him is I wanted us to make love. This guy, he then started giving me money until me and him, we started sleeping together. We slept together for a very long time, and when I tasted like a man, I just wanted to keep on sleeping with different guys. And at church, there was this other guy who was playing the organ in the praise and worship. When he said that he loved me, when we started sleeping together, I thought that this was going to be the love of my life, but he was just a player. So when I fell pregnant for my first child, I didn't know who the father is, but since I loved him, I then pinned the pregnancy on him, and he refused. And after he had refused, I then tried to have an abortion, but I failed to have an abortion. When my sister heard that I tried to have an abortion, she promised me that she was not going to tell anyone. But one day when we were watching TV, that was when she told my mom and my father that I was pregnant and I was trying to have an abortion. My father was really angry, and they asked me who had impregnated me, and I could not tell them who had impregnated me because I was worried. Like the guy that I had slept with, the other man who was our neighbor, he was really old. If I was going to tell them that he is amongst some of the men that I slept with, maybe my father was going to do something bad to him, because my father and him, they were not like your best friends. They hated each other. We rarely spoke with each other. So I didn't want to cause further division between my parents and our neighbors. My father got so angry, and after he heard that I had tried to have an abortion, he said that I was supposed to go and stay back in the village with my grandmother. But my auntie, she was staying in that same village, like she had been married before, and she then said that she didn't want a husband anymore, so she returned back home. Then my grandparents just said that it is fine, you can build in this space, you can build your own 3-roomed house with your kids so that you can take care of your kids. When I returned back to the village, most of the times I was not staying with my grandparents, but I was staying with my auntie. When I left the city, I had so much bitterness. And when I was now in the village, even my auntie was telling me that my father hated me, he didn't love me. That is why he had told me that I was supposed to go and stay in the village. But at that time, my father had said that this thing that you have done, it is a sin. I want you to go in the village and take some time to study the Bible and just concentrate and speak with God and ask for his forgiveness. But when I arrived in the village, my auntie was even encouraging me to date some guys that were always coming to a place, because some of them, they would bring a loaf of bread, another one would bring a carton of milk. So she was enjoying all of these gifts that I was being given by this old man that I was now dating in the village. As pregnant as I was having more than 4 boyfriends that I was sleeping with. My brother, when my father then got this other big contract, when I heard that my father was making money there in the city, and all of my siblings, like now, they were going to good colleges. When he heard that I was dating men that were married, he said that I should stay in the village, and I hated him even more. It then happened that just before he passed away, one of my sister, she had her wedding, and I felt so much bitter on her wedding, and I felt so much angry on my sister's wedding, and I was blaming my father because he was upgrading my siblings, yet he had abandoned me in the village. After the wedding, that was when my father got so sick, and I suspect that my auntie had something to do about it, because she hated my father as well. This auntie of mine and my father, they shared different mothers. That is where the hatred came from. But my father, he loved all of his siblings because he was the firstborn in the family, and he believed that you should love everyone as a Christian. But what he didn't know is that I had joined his secret enemy, and my auntie was going to use me so as to make sure that my father's spirit will never wake up. So when my father passed away, he was then returned back to the village so that he can be buried. The moment that the coffin was taken inside the house, my auntie then came. She was holding a very small tree branch. It was really small that no one even noticed that my auntie had given me that small tree branch. It had some green leaves. Auntie then said that what I was supposed to do is that I had to go and stand close to my father's coffin and pretend as if I was really sad. Whilst I was standing like close to his coffin, I had to drop down that small tree branch that she had given me. And that is what I did, my brother. I went there and I stood, and I just stood there, so everyone just thought that I was really sad with the passing away of my father. After I had dropped that tree branch, I then went outside and I spoke with my auntie. She asked me if I had done everything that she had told me to do, and I told her that yes, indeed, I had done everything that she had requested for me to do for her. After my father's funeral, that was when I saw that my auntie, the things that she wanted to do were quite evil, but she was already controlling me with her charms. One night, I remember, my brother, that we woke up and we went and we sat right next to my father's grave. And when we went there, my brother, the mosquito, the way that it was biting me on that night, because it was a hot night, but we kept on like just sitting close to my father's grave. What we were doing there, I do not even know. We did this the first day. Then after a couple of days, my auntie then told me that she wanted to give me some money because she wanted to assist me again. She wanted me to assist her again. She gave me $50. Then we went, and this was like a lot of money. After we had gone and visited my father's grave late at night, she then said that I was supposed to mention the names of all of my siblings, and after that I had to kind of like spit anyway that close to my father's grave. And after I had mentioned the name of my siblings, we then returned. and I started like to have dreams in my dream, and I started to have dreams. In my dreams, my siblings were always suffering. The things that I saw in my dreams, those are the same things that are happening to all of my siblings. You remember that sister of mine who had recently gotten married just before my father had passed away? Her husband, one day when they were fighting, the husband then took a jug of water. Then the husband threw that jug that was filled with hot water into her direction. Fortunate enough, she covered her face with this other cushion because they were in the living room whilst they were arguing. She covered her face, but still she got hurt. Like even now, her hands, you can actually see that she was burnt with hot water. They got divorced, and ever since she got divorced from her husband, she has been struggling, my brother. All of my sisters, one by one, they were chased away by their husbands, and they were chased away just over a very simple matter, and each and every time they would be beaten up so bad by their husbands such that they would run away. As for my brothers, they have been married twice now. The first time that my brother went into a relationship with this other woman, he thought that the child she was carrying was his child, but it turned out to be wrong. But this was like after years, when he had been taking care of that woman's child, it happened again. The same thing that happened to my elder brother, it is the same thing that happened again to my other elder brother. This is what is happening to my siblings, and I know the root of their problems. But my brother, I do not have the courage to go and sit down with my mother's children and speak with them and tell them everything that auntie made me to do. As for auntie, she is still alive, so I don't know, maybe her charms are still controlling me, because whenever I think about it, I'll just say I'll do it another time. Years are going by and I am watching them suffer. All of my siblings, they went to college, they have their diplomas, but the life that they are living, you feel sorry for them. They even rely on me, just like my auntie said when we were at my father's grave the first night when we visited his grave. He said that I was the one who was going to be the breadwinner. Right now, if they want to make any decision, they call me first, or they speak with me on WhatsApp first about that decision that they would want to take. I am the one who provide the food that they eat in their home, and if we have an argument, I use like the control that I have over them. I'll tell them that I am not going to send you anything. So I am in control right now, but I am just filled with regret. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by our dear sister, and right there was a narration of that translation.